Hi, this is Vanessa Love, and this is my channel. I usually do stuff about mental health. Today's not one of those days. I am a little sick, so I'm going to try and get through this. So, I went to high school in California and college in California. And, sometimes people say stuff to you, like in casual conversation, because they've lived it so much, and you just kind of go, oh, okay, all right, yeah, I guess so. And then you kind of like move on with your life and you don't really think about it, but then it comes up occasionally, and you're like, actually, that was actually really, really important. So, um, yeah, like there's just things where I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. So, I like fashion. I like fashion shows. I attend them. I really liked going to impassion, impact, impact fashion show. I think impact fashion is a different thing, but impact fashion shows are like a very particular thing. If you're looking for them, I believe now they usually meet in Queens or Brooklyn. So they're not like in Manhattan like they were when I saw them. Um, so they're about not having textile waste. They do a lot with the community of like trading clothes, that type of stuff where it's just like here's a swap, here's clothes. Like let's make sure that none of this like gets to any place where it can ruin a where it can ruin the not community but like the environment. So when I was younger and in California, there was a push for two things. One, buying local, and two, having things that were natural fiber, including cotton, and not having it bleached. It has to be unbleached cotton. It can be processed, but it has to be unbleached because putting bleach into the environment ruins the environment. And like there's something about like when you wear something that has been bleached, if it's a white shirt, which I'm like, oh, I am wearing a white shirt, I'm sorry, um, that like it like releases into the environment and can like kind of ruin the air. So we don't want that. Except for me, apparently, because I wear a white shirt. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to that person. I believe the shirt is cotton though, with maybe a little bit of like spandex in it. And this shirt is 50% cotton, so I feel pretty good. It's a very nice tunic. It has 5% spandex, so there is a bit of a stretch to it, but there is 45% of it as polyester, which is it can be very like comfortable, but for, like like when you think of the 70s, right? Like people think of like the polyester suits and the polyester everything. Like polyester has actually come a long way since then, but it's still plastic. So just kind of putting that out there. And when you put things against your skin that don't breathe very well, you put things against your skin that don't breathe very well, you will have a reaction to that. So, what's happening currently, and hopefully you kind of have an idea of this. If not, I apologize that you are getting this from me. Luckily, there are plenty of channels on YouTube who talk about this. So please, like search them out. Just textile waste, especially India, China. There are whole places, whole communities that are being very much impacted by fast fashion. So for me, I do buy fast fashion. I intend to keep it for a long time, but I also know that sometimes I am buying from China, and I'm buying things that are like rayon, nylon, or polyester, and we are moving more towards polyester. Unfortunately, I think it's because it is kind of a cheap like textile product. Um, when you know how these things work, it kind of sucks, you know. But I do keep everything. Like I've definitely had this for I want to say like 3 or 4 years, maybe 5. So like I'm not a fast fashion person. Also, like I love this stuff, man. Like this is just such a cool shirt. It has like little pockets too. Like it's kind of yeah. And this jacket I've had for almost 20 years. When I like came back to Connecticut, like my mom was like, I should probably get you a jacket, a good one. So she got me a good jacket, and it's like, I mean, a couple of other these things like I haven't had so long because like my friend just gave me this in like 2023, and then but I do try to like keep the same gloves, because I know some people just buy gloves every year, and I'm like, no, that's okay. I'll just like, oh, sorry, like I'll just use the same ones over and over again. Again, not participating in fast fashion. So, communities and environments are being destroyed by not shopping locally and by not getting natural fibers. And you can, like, I'm actually teaching one of my friends about kind of, I'm like, geez, the way to do things. I sew. So I haven't sewn a lot of different things as of late, and the things that I've done are like, oh, I made a pin flag. If you don't know what a pin flag is, it's where you have a piece of fabric that's pretty much reinforced, and you make sure that you put your pins on them. People who collect pins are usually the people who like Disney, and also like Rotarians. If you're a part of like any group, like there's like a whole group of people who really like hard rock pins. I didn't know that was a thing. Like they have breakfasts together in like the city, which I think is like so cool. You know, like I just think that that's amazing. They're like, hey, you want to have brunch? We just collect pins. Like, oh, well then. And also, just kind of a very nice side note. When you go on vacation, and especially if you're going on vacation to like any place that like has like, it's just kind of a tourist spot, Orlando, Hollywood, Anaheim. I'm like even thinking that there's like places here where it's like Six Flags, you know, just like buy just like a pack of 20 pins, give them to whomever. Like, I went to Hollywood and gave them to the baristas, to the baristos, to like just random people, and like everyone was like, oh my god, you gave me pins, and like it was such a like a good day, you know. Be like, here's some pins, and they'd be like, oh, you gave us a pin, like, yeah, I gave you a pin. And like I got ones with like very positive sayings on it, so they'd be like, look, it says love on it, or like, look, it says yeet, or not, or something. I don't know. They were very weird sometimes, like go big or go home type of things. It was very nice. Like everyone really enjoyed that. So like just kind of a life side tip. Anyway, so like those aren't things that I like show, but my husband wants me to make him two shirts. I do have like a couple of shirt and like just like matching outfits. Like I already made some what are those things called? They already came apart too on top of that. I'm so embarrassed. But I made leggings. I still have to like kind of work on it because like they weren't like to my standard. But they were good. Like they like I had bought custom fabric from Spoonflower. So like I'm gonna make like a nice top for it, and it's gonna be so cool. And I have some other fabric from a thrift store, which is, I mean, again, one of those things where like if you can find thrift store stuff that is not polyester, you know, excuse me, you might want to you know, like, and if you sew, or if like you want to make something else out of it, or if you know someone who wouldn't mind making other things out of it, then you can definitely do that. I know there is a quilting place in my town, or the next town over or something, and they do like classes and t-shirt quilts. But just by the way, if you ever do a t-shirt quilt, it is going to be about $200. You can get them on Etsy if you want to find something local and support a local quilt business. Like, go do that. Definitely, absolutely. Quilt t-shirt quilts are kind of like, you have a bunch of t-shirts from when you were in championships or from your trips around the world or from a whole bunch of other places. Just make them into a quilt. And you will, like, you don't ruin the shirts after a while, and you get to have a chance to, like, just kind of have good memories in that quilt, which I think is, like, maybe one of those things that is either fine or it is one of those things where it is going to just kind of end up, like, not being a big thing anymore. I mean, you know, women are actually allowed to, like, associate with each other. So, yeah. Sorry, just turned my light on because I was noticing my face was getting a little bit dark. The sun had been out, and, like, very bright in my eye. So I lowered my curtain, and now, like, it's, yeah. Now my face is just not, well lit. Anyway, so, you know, there are all of these things that if you do want to do them, like, I tell people to, like, definitely do it. There's so many different ways to figure this stuff out. Like, I've been watching tutorials. Like, I just got a tutorial on how to make a skirt, and I was like, that's all that I've had to do this entire time is just, like, just get, oh my gosh, get elastic, and also just make sure that it goes over my hips. That's it. I just have to measure my hip. Oh my god. That's all that it is. Anyway, yeah, so I have some fabric for that. So hopefully that will be something eventually. Yeah, because I did take apart a dress, but then, like, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, and it kind of just sucked. But now I get to hopefully do something. I did make a shirt recently. It is not finished, but it is at least closer to where I want it to be. So I'm kind of excited for that. I just have to make a lot of adjustments to it. I'm going to do it, but, like, you know, it just has to sit in my mind for a while. So that's fun. But, like, you know, yeah, you could pick up sewing classes. You can pick up sewing. You can pick up, like, if you go to thrift stores, you can find sometimes, depending on the thrift store, like, old sewing machines is how I'm like, I know I got one from there. I also know that I had one given to me, and then the one I have now was a gift, which is good. I know that there's, like, some thing on there, it's a newer one, like, so that I could just, like, press it and just have it do a straight stitch. I haven't figured that out yet. I kind of like doing my own speed. I'm not the type to just be like, let it go through, it's fine. But, you know, like, sewing can still be a thing that you do. And the more that you get into sewing, the more that you can kind of figure some things out. I did end up going to Joann's Fabric, even though they've declared bankruptcy again. And so hopefully they will still be around. If not, like, there's actually plenty of places that are that have fabric, and but I mean, it's mostly quilting. Unfortunately, it's not going to have the variety that they did. And also, when I buy from the garment district, they don't have how to wash it or what's in it, so that's always fun. I just bought jersey knit. It's the t-shirt material. I just bought jersey knit from a place called Spandex House, and that place was weird and not straightforward. I'm very used to these places. My friend was not. I think that this is one of those places that if you go too often, they will give you a discount, but, like, when you're just kind of there, they are a little bit off-putting. I don't know how else to put that. I'm sorry, Spandex House. I got, like, 3 different like, prices for the same fabric, and I just wanted half a yard. They would not sell me half a yard. They were like, no, it has to be a full yard, which I'm like, okay. So now I just have extra fabric, which is so wonderful. Great. I will probably have to get rid of it. Anyway, not to, like, hopefully it will not end up in, like, whatchamacallit. Hopefully it'll end up in someone's stash and they'll use it as they need to. Anyway. But yeah, it's a whole thing. But it can be a very rewarding and easy thing if you are used to it. I'm sort of used to it. Like, I know that there's a lot that goes into it, but like, it is kind of funny to just be like, all right, let's go into the notions shop and get some things like rivets and like what is that thing called? Like the braided whatever things for like bags. Anyway, I know terms like so well. So yeah, like when you start thinking about how much goes into making clothes and how clothes are made, like, you probably just want to like just spend the extra money on Etsy. There is this thing called fair trade. You can go to a fair trade store. It means that they are most likely not going to use child labor and that they pay their workers a fair wage. When you buy from Shein and Temu and AliExpress, now AliExpress is associated with Alibaba, and Alibaba, if you look on their like website for their wholesale, which like I'll explain that in a second, but like, y'all, you can look at their factories and you can see who's working in their factories. They are not private about that. They want businesses to buy from them, and they want to make sure that they are appealing to the American population, to the American business person. So you can look up a place on AliExpress or like on Alibaba and see what their like situation is. Okay, so maybe not every place on Alibaba or like AliExpress, but like some places might still use enslaved people and children to make things. Anything that you get is likely to be to have enslaved people making your things, unless it says specifically that it is that it is fair trade. It's I like fair trade definitely has its own issues, but it is one of the standards that is there. So you know, you buy your $300 Nikes, you buy I don't buy Nikes, so I don't know how much they are, I'm sorry. You buy your Louis Vuitton, you like, they are like very likely to be using enslaved people for their labor to make them. And this has been known for quite some time. You know, sometimes when you live in a world, you have, you know, the privilege to not know those things. And sometimes you have the privilege to overlook that as well. So, you know, like, this is why knowing these things are so important so that you can make other choices. I know for a long time there was a shoe company called No Logo, because like, why are you advertising other people's stuff if you paid to buy it? And so that they were just No Logo. Very interesting. That's oh my gosh, they were advertised in that, like, it was a periodical, it was a magazine, and now I can't remember the magazine. It was like a very like underground magazine. I loved it though. It was such a good magazine. You know, when you kind of get into like a little bit of counterculture, like you get into some of the things that, like, you know, that are just like about not being branded. And I remember telling people, like, this is how you're branded. Throughout your entire life, you're branded. And it's one of those things where I think people are really going to struggle with it as of late, because not a lot of people are teaching you how to look at something and say, and ask yourself, is that something that I want in my life? I'm going to have a coughing fit, so I got to go. I'm so sorry. I will talk with you soon. All right. Have a good one.